What's up, guys? It's Adam here from Knicks Gaming, talking Game of Thrones Season 8, Episode number 1 with you. I'm excited for this segment. Honestly, this is my kind of content, so I'm ready to get into it. I think you can call it an episode of reunions because you had so many people, so many different characters, finally seeing each other again for the first time in a long time. One of the most emotional moments from the episode is actually pretty early on when Jon Snow was back in Winterfell and he was visiting the Weirwood Tree. Then he turns around and finds Arya Stark, who he hasn't seen, I don't think, up until like the first episode of the show, so it's been a little bit of time to say the least. And they embraced each other and had a really, emotional moment. As a viewer, just kind of seeing the two of them together, especially when you know what each of them has been up to in the last X amount of years, was really cool. And I think the awesome part about it was that she still had Needle, which was a trusty sword that Jon gave to her. And when she showed it to him, he was super happy to know she still had it. And he's like, "Have you used it at all?" And she's like, "Once or twice," which we as a viewer obviously know was an understatement. So my favorite part of the episode, there's a couple to choose from. Personally though, I'm really interested to see how it all plays out with Jon Snow now knowing that he's a Targaryen, which means Daenerys, who he's kind of dating, is also Targaryen. Not like that's ever thrown off Game of Thrones before, but we'll see how it goes now. When Jon rode Rhaegal, I think that whole setup was kind of interesting because he was like, how do you ride a dragon? And Daenerys was like, well, no one knows how to ride a dragon, you kind of just get on. And he did it, which was cool. I don't know, it was exciting to see Jon, someone else on a dragon, but it was cool. I think it was a cool moment for Jon. He didn't know he was a Targaryen by that point in the show, so the fact that he found out just a little bit shortly after was kind of weird, but it's interesting. One of the funniest parts in the show were when Jon and Daenerys actually just came off their dragons in the middle of Winterfell, surrounded by all these snow mountains. And then they had a moment, but the moment, it was kind of a little bit bigger than them because you had two of Daenerys' dragons looking in on him, which was funny because Jon kept looking at them and Daenerys was like, don't pay him any mind. But how could you not, right? You have these like literally life-size dragons just staring you down in the middle of an intimate encounter with your significant other. I don't know, it was funny. And another part too that I also thought was really funny was, well, it was kind of like comedic relief, was when they were in Winterfell and it was Daenerys and Jon, also with Sansa on the table. I think Tyrion was also there too, and they were basically speaking to all the lords of Winterfell, and they were kind of just talking about who's king and all this other stuff. So then Sansa Stark was kind of giving Daenerys a little bit of sass. She was like, "I wasn't prepared for all of these people, for all your armies. What do you even feed dragons?" And Daenerys basically turned around to her and said, "They eat whatever they want." And then that segment just got a hard cut, and it was like the best comedic relief ever because Daenerys was like, "I'm here." Sansa, it was such a moment. I don't know, that dynamic's gonna be really interesting. I think the only thing I was disappointed about was the fact that it wasn't longer. It was only a 54-minute runtime, which sucked because I had the whole night set aside for it. I almost watched it twice. I decided against it. So one of the craziest parts of the episode, we're in Tormund and Beck. We're at the last hearth and found a little Ned Umber, the Lord himself, hanging up on the wall. There was these weird designs surrounding him. I think it was similar to the designs they found back in season 2. I guess you just can't expect anything less from Game of Thrones now to see a kid hanging up. At this point, it's like it wasn't even shocking. The shocking part was though, and it was a jump scare that I wasn't expecting. I was in bed, lights are off, I was fully in the zone, and then the kid comes alive again, or comes alive with the blue eyes and everything. And it was like, with this sword, I just wasn't ready for it. Okay guys, thank you for checking out my episode 1 season 8 recap of Game of Thrones. I'm really excited to be doing this for the next 5 episodes, especially as they get a little bit longer and we have more to talk about. Make sure you also follow us on our social medias, and I will be seeing you guys next week.